I want to talk about how we don't talk about. I want to talk about things that we talk about, talking about, but we hardly ever talk about. I want to talk about how your balls aren't big enough. I want to talk about evolution of thought starting a revolution. I want to talk about my brothers, my sisters, and how they wish they had a system that listened. I want to talk about how they take out the rubbish and yet somehow the smell still lingers. I want to talk about walkabouts. I want to talk about how when we talk about walkabouts, sometimes it's a joke when we talk about walkabouts. I want to talk about what came first, the egg or the chicken, or an Asia riddle like, hey, what came first, the invasion or the drinking? I want to talk about war, the poor. I want to talk about how we claim to know about the poor but do nothing. I want to talk about how we claim to want to help the poor, but when we have some loose change, we'd rather lose nothing. I want to talk about how although we don't directly exploit them, but we know that's what governments are for. I want to talk about rich nations, the so-called good men who do nothing but good, only there to exploit the poor so that they can use and abuse them. I want to talk about how they give them debt and they disguise as a limitless creditor for their countrymen. They give them death, they die, and have the audacity to tell their families that your husband died. Visualize the decorated patriot. I want to talk about how one man's savior is another man's killer. I want to talk about how we are all customers, consumers, and buyers of prostitution, masquerading these diamonds, these jewels, claiming that we want solutions. I want to talk about ignorance being bliss and how consciously we are oblivious that these shoes didn't come from some illusion. They came from souls sold and souls bought. And finally, I want to talk about how I went to Africa and I saw gold diggers stop digging and they started digging for diamonds. Baby mothers were crying and inside dying. They took a 9-year-old boy and his name was just Brian, and now he's a militant killer, villain, and innocent little boy rebellion, and not because he believes in it, in indoctrinated beliefs, in voluntary thief. Is it the futility of war or the illusion that is peace? We pull up the necessary sign, but diamond encrusted is your peace. I want to talk about human rights. And how we don't talk about human rights. I want to talk about how the next time we waste time, we'd rather spend time creating a face on Facebook pages, because 1 hour a day equals 30 friends made, so ultimately we are content with the rate that Facebook pays us. I want to talk about things that we talk about, talking about, but we hardly ever talk about. Thank you.